For many, it's hard to believe that their vote will count in a sea of a million Americans, whether it's voting at a municipal level or the highest level, which is for presidency. But that is why I will be telling you about the impact of your vote. Over the years, there has been a number of voter turnout fluctuation, whether voting locally or for a national election, which is caused by a mistrust of the establishment, misinformation, and inequality. All information that I will be informing you about was accumulated from trustworthy websites like Time Magazine, National Geographic, and from demos. Voting is a founding foundation for what this nation stands for, which is democracy. Democracy is a system of government in which citizens vote directly in or elect representatives to form a governing body, sometimes called the rule of a majority. The freedom to vote is a privilege that not everyone in the world is offered. Like all things, voting is not a perfect system, but it is a way for the citizens of a nation to express their beliefs, needs, wants, and sentiments, which is why it's important that people vote. To stay true to our nation's value of democracy, it's important to vote because your vote really does count. It minimizes unequal turnout and helps our future overall. First, I'm going to tell you about why your vote counts. According to my source, National Geographic, there have been elections where a bigger voter turnout would have outcomes that could have changed the course of American history. For example, in the election between Al Gore and George W. Bush, an exact 600 more votes would have changed the outcome of who would have become the president. To be more exact, Bush had won Florida by 0.009%. If this doesn't convince you that your vote does count, then here is another example of a close election. Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Trump had not won in the national popular vote, but won in a tight race in the Electoral College, since he had a high concentration of voters in key districts and swing states. Your vote is especially important in electoral results, which plays a huge role in who will become the next president. Another reason why your vote is so important is because low turnout can cause an important local issue to be determined by a limited group of voters. What might be an issue sought out by the minority opinion can become a winning issue if there isn't a high enough voter turnout to better represent the interests of everybody. It is reported that fewer than 15% of eligible voters turned out to vote for mayors, council members, and other local offices. That is simply not enough to fully represent the wants and needs of everybody. Now that I have told you about why your vote counts, now I am going to tell you about unequal turnout. The information that I will be informing you about I got from a reliable website called Demos. Now, I have a question for you. With a fluctuation of voter turnout, as a nation, are we getting the best representative of what people believe or want? The answer is no. As a nation, we face a reality of racial and class barriers. These inequalities cause people to decide to not participate in voting. The viewpoints of lower voting populations are almost entirely ignored in elections and policymaking. Overall, our election systems do a poor job of giving voice to the full diversity of viewpoints in our electorate. We need to see these votes because most likely they will change leadership and outcomes of what issues is given more importance to. Vote because you refuse to let voting become the privilege of the rich. Vote because there are those who don't want you to, who promote laws making it harder for the poor or young or not white people to cast a ballot. Now that I have told you about why your vote counts and unequal turnout, I'm going to inform you about how it will improve our future overall. My reliable source for this information comes from Time Magazine. Many came to America for a better future, and voting is one means of improving the future for ourselves and those that come after us. A higher voter turnout reminds public servants about the public they serve. It dilutes the power of big donors and narrow interests. A higher turnout establishes a better balance between parties. A higher turnout in local elections results in better leadership. And finally, a higher voter turnout would result in making American democracy more representative. It's amazing how much voting can impact this nation and its future. So why don't we all do it? Voting is a duty that we owe to ourselves and to our fellow citizens. As I said before, voting is a founding foundation for what this nation stands for, which is democracy, which allows the citizens of America to choose our leaders to help better our future. We talked about why your vote matters within your community, decreasing unequal turnout, and how voting improves our nation's future. What would happen if everyone in America voted? The simple answer? We live in a better world.